So here we are in the back garden, another week done. It's a Sunday, which makes a change. What doesn't make a change is I've got a fire. I'm just finishing recording my sleep system video that I said I was going to record. I'll see how it goes. You know, at the time the sun was still up a little bit. It was shining on the back fence quite a bit, and as a consequence, I don't know whether I'm in shadow. I can't even tell whether it's in focus properly. The GoPros are great for that. You get them in close, everything's in focus. Yeah. But I realised I was recording on my GoPros 1080p. 1080 30p, and my beautiful SLR records at the same level as 1080 30p, which, given modern cameras, you know, it's not impressive, yeah. But there's a big difference. Wow. There's a big difference in the joys of having a fire, and there's a breeze which is just catching this just right at the moment. But there's a big difference. Yeah? The glass that sits on the front side of my beautiful Pentax K1, that's what I'm shooting with. That's what I go out in the field and photograph with. I'm an amateur, don't get me wrong, no professional. I'm definitely in the amateur ranks, but it's great. It's great glass, you know. So hopefully we can set better depth of field. You know? So I'm playing again with. This wood is poppy, explosive. Yeah, and it took me blinking ages to get started. And yeah, it took me ages to get it started tonight. I don't know why. Just did last week, flint and steel method. I tried to practice the different ways of lighting the fire, because practice makes perfect. And when you get out into the field and you're cold, and the last thing you want to do is faff with lighting the fire. So as usual, I'm going to put my my cup on there. I've now moved that out of range of my GoPro. Yeah, so I practice what I'm doing in the field on the stove when I'm at home. That way I know when I'm out in the field I can do it. By the way, you'll see this on the stove today. There's denim cloth in a tin which has a tiny hole in the top. I don't know whether you can see that. Anyway, that's going on as well today. Yeah. And what I'm doing is I'm creating char cloth, yeah, for lighting fires. Yeah. But this wood is a bit vicious. Brand new bag. Yeah. And yeah, it's definitely on the vicious side. It's popping and cracking like a good one, which suggests it's not as kiln dry as the bag says it is. Yeah. So we'll keep this stoked because we've got to make the char cloth. Yeah. And put some of this that I've got damp just in as well. I don't want to waste it. I've got a very, very nice camera, which I'm not using enough, which is why I've employed it in my videos. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. I get the gear and I use it for some of its function, or what I intended to buy it for, and why I've got it. You know, for me, it's landscape photography. That's why I've got a good camera. Yeah, and I've had a camera since I was in my teens, you know, and I've moved up and up and up and up. And a long time ago, I got into the Pentax system. So I've stayed with Pentax, and it serves me well. You know, even though now it's probably not the best camera for me to be recording videos on, you know, videos such as this. It's good enough for this, but not huge more for video work, you know, which is fine. It wasn't intended that way. But it does mean I'm getting a second use out of my camera, which I wouldn't normally do. And that's a good thing from somebody who goes out and gets all the gear. This means that now, instead of just surviving on my GoPros, which I thoroughly intended to do, yeah, and I'm fighting my itch to go out and buy more and more gear, you know, there's no need. I don't know whether this will take off, whether in a year's time I will still be rattling to the camera in the back garden. In a year's time, we hopefully won't be in any form of lockdown anymore, and we'll be able to adventure out. And so, as a consequence, my videos will be recorded elsewhere. And I will have my Pentax with me when I go camping. Yeah, strange as it might sound, you know, and costly as that might sound as well, because I did destroy a camera in the Lake District while camping. I got caught by the most god-awful weather, and despite being military or ex-military, you know, I put my stuff away properly, and I got flooded out. Yeah, and two things got ruined: my book of Red Storm Rising, Tom Clancy, and my camera. Yeah, can't win. Yeah, and I didn't bring a cloth out. This is going to be hot. That's my cup of tea made. Anyway, let's get that further onto the fire. And there were the two things that got destroyed, which was a shame. I don't know. I continued. I picked up a new camera body. I continued with lenses, you know. And that's the way it goes. And you get anchored into a camera system. You know. And later on, I bought the GoPro. In fact, originally it was a GoPro Hero 4. And then I upgraded to the 7. Yeah. And that was because of my biking. Yeah. And I was out on the street and doing a commuter run. There was a couple of 3 times where I nearly got wiped out, and I decided to mount a camera onto the front of the bike at least, and it was hanging underneath my bike computer. And the GoPros filled that niche very nicely. And the 7 had way better image stabilization than the Hero 4 I had, so it made for better quality video on the bike. I didn't keep this video, I didn't share it with anybody. I did show a couple of pieces to a couple of colleagues, and dash cam footage. I've been nearly wiped out by inconsiderate drivers, you know. That's what it was there for. Cool, did its job. Right, I'm going to enjoy this cup of tea, finish making my char cloth, which is basically all you do is you put your cloth in a sealed tin environment, you heat it up, so you've applied heat, you've removed the oxygen, and it turns it into charcoal. And the charcoal, effectively, when you're striking your steel or whatever, it catches the low temperature spark, turns it into a much hotter flame, which my uncle will attest to tonight, because I've burnt my ankle with a bit of char cloth. That's the fun. That's the fun we have when we're doing these things. Yeah, you've got to be careful. Anyway, with that, I'm going to love you and leave you. Say ta-da.